Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you like this watch, you can see it and purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. And today, we sing the virtues of Piaget, a company oft associated with jewelry and rightly associated with the manufacture of its own quartz calibers, but perhaps under-recognized for its work in mechanical watchmaking and its long-standing mastery of ultra-thin mechanical watches. This is the Piaget Altiplano 40mm in white gold and only 6.8mm thick, with a knife-like profile to its case. Because it settles into the wrist when strapped down, it appears only about 4 or 5mm thick. Lug-to-lug, a very reasonable 44.6mm, so it'll fit on a wrist as small as 13cm circumference, in spite of its large 40mm size. The spacing between the lugs, 21mm, giving it a modern stance and footing, even as it evokes the best of mid-century 1940s, 50s, and 60s dress watches. And nowhere is that more evident than in the projecting standalone form of the lugs. They have a strong footing outboard, sort of tumble home and angular hook underneath that gives them a little bit more of a presence. They're not too refined, they're not fey. They do have a sort of masculine strength at their terminal end, but they do evoke that 1950s and 60s period when Piaget, with the calibers 9P and 12P, truly was at the height of its powers in ultra-thin watchmaking. The strap, nicely made, broad thanks to the 21mm lug spacing, black large-scale alligator leather, semi-gloss, folded edges, monotone stitch, natural calfskin on the bottom. You can see it is a Piaget factory strap with a white gold buckle with a fluted and raised center portion, nicely made, matching the metal as well as the polish of the case. The case, all in high polish, has a few strong character lines. There's the mid case, which joins with those strident, projecting, and evocative vintage-style lugs. I do like the fact that they're not simply needle lugs. They do have that extra mass to give them body and volume. And then you'll note that the case back itself is stepped in somewhat to create the apparent thinness of the watch, even in excess of its actual 6.8mm. The dial is minimalist and the bezel is flat and conical, but the dial is not without art. You will note the asymmetrical split scale for the constant seconds, which features a sunken sub-register, and the interspersing of double indices on the dial, needle-style black oxidized hands, and a minimalist Piaget marquee at 3 o'clock. It is a matte silver, so it's not the explosive sunburst that you'll see on some watches with silver dials, and that gives it a bit more of a refined appearance, as a sunburst might have overwhelmed a watch this spare of detail. Now, since the late 1950s, Piaget has been expert in the manufacture of exceptionally thin calibers, and that continues with the 61-hour power reserve manual wind 838P, 19 jewels, handmade, with an interesting series of decorative decisions having been made. First of all, it is a very traditional train, as you'll note the crown wheel, intermediate driving wheels, the ratchet wheel on top of the barrel with its click driving the center wheel, fourth wheel, third wheel, escape wheel, and then the anchor indexing the balance. A fairly large balance. It beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour, and the entirety of the movement only 2.5mm thick. The timepiece has a handsome set of circular Côte de Genève across its bridges. There is a spiral graining on the ratchet wheel itself, and then a radial graining on the crown wheel. You'll note a micro perlage across the base plate and the Piaget coat of arms quite attractively engraved into the bridges. This is a handsomely made traditional Swiss manual wind ultra-thin movement. And again, with a 61-hour power reserve, this one has unexpectedly long legs. Great if you want to put the watch down for a couple of days from Friday to Monday. Pick up your crazy weekend sports watch, put this back on Monday, wind it up, and it's still beating, still keeping time. Piaget, of course, building all of its watch, a true manufacturer making its own calibers, and that includes the ultra-thin 838 inside this Altiplano. 40mm in white gold. Buy the mechanical watch no one sees coming and sneak up on the rest. The Piaget Altiplano on the Watchbox.